Hello everyone, welcome to Cerebral Arcade. I'm Stacy and today we're going to keep playing Night in the Woods. Oh gosh, I have an echo. Okay. So yesterday or Monday we talked a bit about certain choice points, and there was a lot of distance between the player and the main character, May. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about that distance and the process of being an unreliable narrator and what that means in games in particular where we're used to the protagonist and the player kind of fusing into one. And so what does it mean then if the protagonist, who we as the player are playing, is an unreliable narrator? So I'm going to dive in and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit as it goes throughout the stream. Okay, I'm waking up. Chat with our friends a little bit. So we've had a pretty tumultuous relationship so far with B here. Everyone's telling us where they are, basically. Chat with Mom. Here's my little sunshine daisy. Yeah, more of this kind of wanting to be an adult, not being treated like an adult. Oh. Yeah, so that felt like an interesting moment, one where it seemed like maybe, there's a bit of like reaching out, where both of us seem like we kind of want to reach out to each other. Oh, hi, what happened? How are you? But yeah, it's tough, and you do sort of feel this like increasing distance between me and Mom and me and my friends and kind of everybody that this character is supposed to have a relationship with. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot we found an arm. How gruesome. Whoa, yeah, seriously. Yeah, and I think the writing and the interactions I'm having with a lot of NPCs is doing a really good job of kind of playing the sort of straight man to my very altered reality where my character's like, oh, there's ghosts running around and all of these things, and then all of the characters are kind of reacting like, no, it's not a ghost. Ghosts aren't real. Okay. So I get to decide if I want to do Greg or B. And I think when I left off, we had sort of decided I was going to gravitate toward Greg a little bit more. Even though B and I still haven't gone to the graveyard like we said we were going to. But I like Greg. B's a lot of work to have a relationship with. Oh, yeah. It's a lot of exclamation points. Just saying hey. Okay, so actually the game is kind of forcing us to go hang out with B. That's fine. Okay. Thank you. There's a lot of whoa. Which is interesting because I guess that's sort of designed to convey things that the graphics can't, where everybody is basically saying, whoa, you look terrible, even though obviously like the graphics for my character, you know, haven't changed. Other than the kind of slight narrowing of the eyes, which in and of itself is actually pretty expressive. Yeah, I guess we'll say bad. Our character still clearly believes there's ghosts, so, Okay, so I think we're gonna have to check out the graveyard for the game to progress, so let's say yes. Which is kind of interesting, because that's sort of forcing me into a yes, which makes my character seem more enthusiastic from a sort of like roleplay perspective. Oh, this is really beautiful. Be so gothy. I like it. Good ambient sound here. It is pretty spooky. Yes, very spooky. This isn't dumb. Don't act like this is dumb. Oh man, that's a little close to home. Eek. Okay, fun. We're gonna do something like a little exquisite corpse with B. He's whispering things. What's he whispering? Complicated fine print. This is a really great moment of kind of like tonal levity alongside this like spooky background noise and creepy ambience. Really good, like nice mix of tone there. Okay. Yeah, like cool. Again, like I think this game does a really good job with narrative voice and capturing kind of that post-teenager dialogue really well. Okay. Oh, I can't go up. All I can really do is follow her, but I don't really want to follow her. I want to give her a minute with her mom. Okay. Nah, not gonna talk to her. Oh my god, I have no other option. Okay. This game is seriously masterful at the awkward conversation. Man. I think that's the first time this game has done this kind of picture-in-picture. It's actually a really nice effect. Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting choice moment in particular because I'm not talking to anyone. This is clearly just for sort of roleplay purposes, like how do I want to relate to this character? And probably it's not going to have any effect on the game, like from a system perspective, but it does sort of mean that I get to kind of exert some semblance of control over what the main character's feeling. Which is interesting. It's like a very inward form of agency. Horses to internet horses. Wow. Yeah, again, with these kind of personal, how do I feel about this kind of choices? Yeah, let's go with that's not enough time. Oh, this bear is so cute. Okay. Looking for a ghost, as you do. Okay, that's actually a reasonable question. Why is he holding a rake? I mean, I guess there's been a lot of leaves around, but yeah, let's ask him about his feelings. Career grave digger. Cute. I'm gonna say he loved his bike. Yeah, so this is one of those moments that I kind of wanted to talk about where the actions my character is taking seem to sort of be deliberately written to be, unsympathetic, and it's doing a really good job of sort of creating distance between me and the protagonist. And the effect it's having is one that's really similar to basically what books with unreliable narrators do, where at first your default is to sort of connect with the protagonist and put yourself in their position and all of these things. But with games, because you are assuming role play in a way that you're not with fiction, it also, a lot of that is done not just through writing and the kinds of things your character says, but also the sorts of actions you're allowed to take, the actions that you as a player want to take versus what's offered to you in the game, and stuff like that. And so a lot of the actions we've been given, the things our character's saying, things like that seem to be kind of intentionally creating distance between what I as the player want or would consider right or, would do in any particular situation versus what my character is choosing to do without my consent or is being forced to do by the options I'm given as the player and things like that. So it's creating increasing distance between us, which I think, given all of the themes of kind of increasingly deteriorating mental health and struggling with depression, and it's been hinted so far, maybe some kind of dissociative disorder, it all actually seems to be really fitting with that kind of unreliable narrator and that distance. Yeah, B really is the character that's here to remind you of power structures at play in this fictional world, but, paralleling our real world as well. Like, she and her family are really struggling with just barely keeping out of poverty despite owning a business. She can't afford to go to college. Her mom couldn't afford to be buried up on the hill, and now she's worried about what's going to happen to her grave, and fighting the good fight against institutional power structures, and yeah, it's really heavy. So having this light dialogue and this sort of very sarcastic take on it, I think is really necessary, because without that, and it is even creeping in places, it starts to feel really downer and kind of oppressive. Ooh. That was a really nice transition, that lighting. Yeah, from here, where we're lit, music sort of fades out, ambient wind fades up, character becomes increasingly silhouetted. That was a really, really nice transition. Teens. They're weird teens. And yeah, B also is kind of an unrelenting straight man to a lot of these jokes, where a lot of times in this game it seems like youth is kind of made to look ridiculous or, overly concerned with things, and B is a character that is, there to consistently point out how silly this is and keep things grounded, and it's funny. Say yes, sure. No, I'm very much lying. Yeah, and this is also a really interesting exchange, because especially with I can only speak to, these kind of best friend relationships between two girls, but this feels like a really authentic moment between, two female best friends, where having sex for the first time is sort of seen as this coming of age. And not only that, but who knows about the loss of virginity also speaks to how close you are with those people. And then also younger teens being really fascinated by that process. Oh man, yeah, do we watch wrestling with our dream date, or do we wrestle with our dream date? Let's wrestle with them. Yeah, this is really interesting, this kind of secret sharing as a way to gatekeep. Because it is this gatekeeping process in a lot of friendships in this, in this age group. This very much feels like a very high stakes game of truth or dare, which feels very appropriate to the age of these characters. Okay, well, I think most people, including myself, most embarrassing experience is probably junior high, so let's go. I like just calling all of them teens, just, okay, teens. It's interesting, though, for a game that's very focused on a character who wants to be more adult than she probably is, to have these characters that are slightly younger that feel way more immature. Oh. Oh my god. Okay. I feel like no is the appropriate answer here. God. Oh. I feel like yes is just that's gonna go bad places. Okay, yeah, we're gonna say no. I can't really tell. That's not what I said. I bet that's what you get in both cases. That's a little annoying. Like, that feels like that could have been a really high impact friendship moment. But I do get it. I think that if you answer yes and it goes badly, because it probably will, that feels like kind of a really major branch moment in my relationship with B that I don't know that the game was really prepared to pay off, but it still felt like a kind of disappointing choice. Okay, that felt very fourth wall breaking, but in a clever way. Alright, we gotta break the gate. Okay. It won't let me go forward. It feels like I would need an item to break the gate open. Okay, that shaking effect was super necessary. Joe Shade. Interestingly, I can't jump right now. I guess because B told me I wasn't allowed to break stuff. Hi, Mal. Oh, this is gonna end badly. Oh, look, and I can jump again. That's exactly why. Apparently, I can't jump if I'm not aiming to be destructive. Which kind of says a lot about the fact that I'm just jumping all of the time through the town. Oh no, that's not good. Oh, I don't think this is gonna go well. Okay. I absolutely love the mini games where my little paw is shaking. It's such a good touch. All right. Oh, what is that? Oh. Oh my gosh. So there's someone watching us. Of course there is. Ooh, it's that creepy figure that stole that other guy. Whoa. Wow, they've got a lot of expressiveness in the eyes. Just like really small differences. Hi, Ben! Ah! Good to see you. Oh man. Okay. I like Angus. Okay. Oof. This sounds like a heavier answer than the others. So I'm kind of inclined to pick that one. We'll go with that. There's a ghost in my head. Yeah, everyone kind of doesn't know how to respond to that. Yeah, and this is kind of an interesting scene too, because as May, I want to identify with the character I'm playing, but it's really clear that something is wrong with May, And because of that kind of unreliable narrator thing I was talking about, in this scene, I'm actually more identifying and agreeing with May's friends who are concerned and think there's probably something else going on than with May. And so this is another scene that seems like it's just kind of pulling me as the player farther and farther away from the character that I'm role-playing, which feels very intentional. My little eyes keep getting angrier and angrier, too. Ah. Yeah, and this makes the friends very sympathetic because I also, as the player, realize that they're doing this, you know, kind of out of friendship. They're concerned, something's clearly wrong, but they want to help and they want to support me. So we're all gonna go ghost hunting together. I love that. I've got to work in the morning. Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think that other games have talked about doing that. Like, I remember that being kind of a problematic quote when the Tomb Raider reboot came about, that one of the developers had talked about wanting the player to care for Lara. But this game seems to do a really good job of kind of wanting you to care for May, as opposed to just, you know, having you embody May and like offering all the options that you would want as a player. It's kind of that taking away of those options that's really like fostering that distance, but still like allowing me to care for this character. Which is kind of interesting. I think it draws like a harder distinction between what roleplay actually is than other games I've played. Because like with roleplay, you're embodying a character, but you're aware to various degrees that you're not that character, and this game seems to lean really far toward the side of you are very aware that you're in a role that is not you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they are, like, there's a lot of emotional resonance in this one, like, sprite on its side wiggling a little bit. And this is kind of going back to the symbolic representation I was talking about in the last stream, that I think this game does a really amazing job of sort of presenting you with just enough graphic information for you to fill in the blanks yourself, kind of in the same way that theater does. And yeah, that's a really good point, Ben. Yeah, that's a great point. I think that it's walking this really fine line of keeping you both role playing as May, but also distanced enough from May that you're not quite embodying her. I don't know. It's a really interesting relationship that I haven't seen in a lot of other games. And I think for me, it parallels mental health struggles really well, because it parallels this feeling that I've experienced, at least, where you're sometimes aware that feelings you're feeling or thoughts you're having are not healthy or are not quite right, and you have like a distance from your own thought process, but you're still yourself and you're still having those thoughts and feelings. And so it's this kind of duality that I think this game is capturing really well, with you both being this character but not being this character. Oh. Man, this game is doing a lot with letters jiggling around a screen. Wow. Wow. Oh. I'm not controlling this. This is cutscene. I can jump, apparently, but I'm running on my own. Okay. It's really nice they give me enough runway to figure out if I was controlling my character. Okay, also very cool how the figures are kind of blurred a little bit. And that's a cut. Eek. Wow, okay. The end of everything. The meta gaming moment. Oh my gosh, this is like the dialogue I needed last stream when I was trying to remember who my character was and what was going on. And then we had that catastrophic band practice where I completely couldn't play my instrument at all. Oh, interesting. Now I'm playing as B. And there were a lot of options that were set up for me that were sort of deciding between B and Greg. I sort of wonder, actually, if I had been choosing Greg. I tried to keep it fairly even, but I think the game kind of pushed me a little bit toward B at the end. But I wonder if I would be playing Greg in this situation. Yeah, okay. So this is really interesting because switching point of view partway through, especially in a roleplay dynamic, giving me a choice this early, I'm like, okay, well, I know B's character, so part of me wants to answer this like how B has been responding to me so far, but part of me, because that's been really difficult to deal with, is actually wanting to subvert that a little bit and let people in a little. So I think I'm gonna do that. But what an interesting choice to give a player. Just in terms of like characterization. Brownies or lasagna? I'm gonna go brownies. Oh, this is what Angus seems to do. He feeds people. I really like it. And yeah, I talked about this a little bit last stream, but I think that this game does a great job of characterizing Angus, where he's not one of the characters, to my knowledge, that you're able to get closer with in the way you can with either B or Greg, but they do a great job of him being this sympathetic character that you have reasons why, you know, he's that friend of a friend who's really sweet, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of substance there. Oh, thanks, Ben. Thanks for joining. But at no point as the player am I, like, sad that I can't get to know him better. Oh, man. Yeah, this is a really interesting sequence where there's not a ton I can do besides literally pace around and stress out. Wow, lots of really dramatic cuts in these last couple of scenes. Oh, wow. May is not doing well. This is really beautiful, though. This game does a phenomenal job with light and color. Yeah, wow, like really, really laborious walking, forcing the player to go a really long distance, um, and then kind of collapsing. Gosh, that's. I'm gonna try to turn him down. Yeah, even at lower, it's still coming up really distorted. So I think maybe that's just the audio. So this is the helpful bird that we saw right in the beginning. Um, it's kind of taking the role of the, you know, the wise character who kind of just appears and disappears. Interesting. I didn't even get a chance to talk to parents or anything. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, it really feels very heavy to move right now. I'm really glad it didn't make me walk to one of my friends' houses because I don't think I was going to make that. Once again, I love the wiggly arms. The wiggly arms are like my favorite thing in this game. That was really, really great symbolic representation of like, hey, you're sick. Don't don't eat that. I will say also, this game does a really fantastic job of communicating to you that you have people all around you who love you and care about you, and as a player, you're still sort of encouraged to not take them up on any of their offers to help you or provide you support. Oh. And yeah, man, talk about that distance and that care. Like, all I want to do is hug my character right now, which is not a feeling I think I've felt in very many games. Aww. Hmm. Okay, yeah, let's. This one feels like the progression option, so we'll do that. Aww. There's a lot of ghosts. Yeah, and this is definitely that like disassociation that had been hinted at up to now. And a really poignant description of it. Oh. So, yeah, the whole game has been hinting at the fact that I have done something terrible. And this is that reveal. Hmm. Wow, that was gut wrenching. That was extremely well written and heavy, and wow. Okay. Um, yeah, the dialogue writing in this game has been really, really amazing. The hole in the center of everything is also a really apt title card for what feels like we're going into, referring to both clearly the mental health struggles that our characters going through, the literal sinkhole, and also some plot holes that need filling. Wow. This does not seem like a good idea. Wow. My friends had my back. Which is like a desperately needed moment of like levity and positivity. Okay. Wait, I don't want my friends to wait. No. Uh, okay, I hope my friends are about to tell me how ridiculous this is. Aw, yay. Okay, good. Good. But yeah, so many moments of, May being like, no, I can do this alone. I can take this on. And my friends jumping in and saying, no, that's ridiculous. Yeah, this just feels a little overly tropey, but I do appreciate that my friends do keep ignoring my silly, like, I have to go this alone tropey moments. Um, which, yeah, it does feel like a kind of deliberate subversion of that trope, but so slow. There's actually a nice subtle moment there. The other characters have drastically faster walk speeds than me. That sound, though. Oh, Angus just wants to help so much. Wow. That's ominous. Okay. Yeah, these walking sequences are a really interesting way to build tension. Definitely in the same way that like early games had these kind of empty rooms right before you would fight a boss. That's what this feels like, but really drawn out and extended. Nice little detail there of B's cigarette continuing to glow. Oh, Greg. Oh, that's unexpected. Ooh. This is really not the boss confrontation I was expecting, I have to say. Not that I was expecting, like, platforming combat or something. But this feels very much like the end of a Scooby-Doo episode. Gosh. Oh no. Nothing's wrong with Scooby-Doo endings at all. Yeah, it's just kind of a big info explanation, info dump. Oh my gosh. Hi, Love Freaky. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting way to sort of visually communicate that dissociative shapes feeling. What an interesting way to put it, pitching. Goodness. Gosh, yeah, and I will say again, like the writing, the voice of the dialogue, it's really, really wonderful. Like, you definitely, despite knowing nothing about this character, you have a hooded figure, you still can really feel the kind of, like, hometowniness of this character sort of speaking and talking about jobs coming back and all of these things. And this one also, with just, you know, the word choice ain't fair they get to, stuff like that. Oh, Angus will carry me. Yeah, they're sad, mourning a future that they're not gonna have. But interesting that out of all of this, that May is the character who most relates with the cult leaders and has this empathy that the other characters don't have, despite having these literally dissociative episodes that prevent her from feeling empathy. Okay, we're mashing. Oh my gosh, this is visually really gorgeous. Wow. And this game does communicate things with shapes that, like, are incredibly gruesome despite not being very graphic, you know? And love is the thing that brings May back. It's so cute. Also, Greg and Angus's relationship is basically the cutest thing. Aww. That delay in my friend's hands coming was really great too, because it was just long enough for me as the player to think, oh man, I don't think I can do this, or I'm not sure how, and then my friends come in and do it. Oh, and they can all walk a lot faster than me. Oh no. Yeah, such a good job in this game of kind of the parallels between what May is going through as a character and her sort of very personal character growth and arc, and also relating it to this sense of loss in this community and this, you know, this kind of cult mystery and all of that. Just really, really great progression and arc through this story. Whoa. Wow. My eyes are open again. ask us why, please. Okay. Hyper like dolphins. Clearly she means endorphins, but I like calling them dolphins. That's great. So the jump is way slower and sluggier now, or it feels like it. But I kind of love giving that in-story diegetic reason for the player to be jumping. And it's kind of like, no, I'm feeling really hyper because I just had this near-death experience and I have a lot of adrenaline now. And jumping seems to be a power that is clearly May's. Aww. I love that he doesn't really ask questions like why we're all down here, just... Aww. Whoa. That's pretty dark. Man, yeah, meta, like, agency game moment there. If we'd had a choice, we wouldn't have done it, but we didn't have a choice. Wow. Wow. Okay, I really thought they were going to explain the trolley problem to us, so I'm a little glad that they just kind of let that go. Draw attention to it, but without being overly didactic, which we'd talked about on previous streams. That, yeah, it really is really difficult to bring up some of these really heavy subjects and present them in a way that's not making a moral judgment. And this game has done a really wonderful job of presenting difficulties and struggle in mental health without sort of presenting mental health problems as bad or as inherently good, in a way that things that try to present mental health problems as sympathetic sometimes use them as a crutch or shorthand to convey that a character is good because they struggle. And this game has not done that. It's been really, I think, powerful and poignant in how it's conveyed a lot of this stuff, and done a really great job at sort of suggesting, you know, how not only how difficult it is, but how, you know, you as somebody dealing with mental health issues can be, can exist in that duality that I was talking about earlier of recognizing when certain things are not right or not healthy, but still feeling them and still kind of existing within that framework. And yeah, it's kind of all balanced, this unreliable narrator in a really interesting way, which, like, games don't really do the unreliable narrator thing as often as we see it in something like literature. So it's a really interesting thing to see in a game. Aww. Aww. Wow, and that's something that I so identify with as well. I'm gonna type out this big, heartfelt thing over Messenger, and I'm gonna send it to you, and then deleting it and not sending it because it's too sort of personally vulnerable. We have our normal wake-up animation. All right, everyone wants to talk to us. Band practice, no! 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 Oh my gosh. I was so bad at the last band practice. Okay, so we gotta go to the snack place. Oh, Greg Angus is just kind of eternally optimistic. Okay, so yeah, so this is really cool. I feel like games don't really do denouement very well or very often. And that's exactly what this feels like. The story's kind of wrapped up, things are good, we're having our hey, everything's back to normal moment, but we actually get to play through it as a player, which is really cool. We don't really see that enough in games, I think. Like, if you look at, Detroit, for example, when we played through that, we had kind of the big climactic scene, and then you get like a 2-minute, not even, like a 45-second cutscene, and that's all the denouement you have as a player. Whereas like this, it's like a normal day. The game kind of established this day cycle of we wake up, we talk to mom, we go do our stuff, we come home, we talk to dad, and we go to bed. And mom says we're an adult and we can do what we want, and it's that realization that our character has been searching for the whole game. That's really lovely. Oh my gosh, I really want to tell mom. Oh. And that's really wonderful. The game is setting up that the last thing I'm gonna do today is tell my parents this thing that I've been sort of struggling to tell them for the whole game. I do also love that even though we've had a couple of small fights with mom, at no point has have we stopped like saying I love you, or have our parents been presented as evil or anything like that. We actually have really loving, supportive parents. Aww. And also, like, very prescient topics. I can certainly see why some of these things would be on a game developer's mind. Aww. And yeah, that's also, like, quite a development from where we started the game, where, now it's also, hey, I want to hear about your problems too, Dad. Well, at least the cop is not asking any questions about the mind full of people. Yeah. Just gonna keep walking, keep going to band practice. Gonna steal the pretzel on the way, 'cause that's what we do. Yeah, kind of cool to be able to go back through the town and have this kind of parallel experience to what we had the first time we went through, with the ability to see all of our characters' growth. And it's interesting because it feels like progression in a very narrative way that, it's not like our character's gotten more powerful in the sort of classic game progression sense. Our character has just become more sure of herself, and that's cool to see. Like, she wasn't trying to posture to that group in the way that she was originally, and was just kind of like, yeah, be careful, I don't need your approval. Yeah, let's do band practice. Oh my gosh. Okay, stream, I'm sorry for whatever is about to happen. But I do like that the band minigame doesn't seem to have much effect on story, other than how everybody kind of reacts right after, where they're like, oh, wow, May, that was really good, or that was really terrible. Aww. Aww. But I like Greg. Yeah, there's apparently a death cult of dads. Oh my god. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Aww. Oh, let's see the world's largest pierogi. Oh, and she's using, like, term of endearment from before. Oh, yeah, that's really great. Oof, yeah. Yeah, great pacing on those narrative beats there. Hmm. Man, yeah, the tone of that ending, like, yeah, we've earned pizza today, which makes today worth living, 'cause we survived. Yeah, wow. gosh. I feel like I need a minute just to kind of take all of that in and process. So I knew this was a heavy game going into it. I don't think I was prepared for exactly how heavy it was, but it was really, really interesting and doing a lot of really ambitious things, I think, with writing and narrative design, and certainly with character arc. Wow. Yeah, gosh. So, yeah, I said I wanted to talk about unreliable narrators today, and we talked a little bit about that, but yeah, I think that it's worth repeating again just how well that distance and that unreliable narrator and all of that sort of fed into what the game was doing with mental health and the way that mental health was presented overall. And yeah, gosh, wow. This definitely is a game that I think I want to go away and think about for a bit. I have not played Oxenfree. Actually, it's on my backlog of stuff to do for this stream. So after my next stream this week and next, we're kind of finishing up some loose ends on some games that I'd streamed in the past. But after that, I'm going to throw a poll up on the Cerebral Arcade Twitter, and Oxenfree is one of the games that I'll put on there, and we'll kind of figure out what games to play next. But yeah, I really feel like this is a game that really rewards reflection, and I've seen definitely some different analyses and think pieces about this game. Certainly had friends that have had really great, interesting thoughts on it as well. But yeah, I think this is a game that certainly you should watch for a blog post about this, because I need to go away and have a think. This R.I.P. Casey. Oh, yeah. The tone, man, wow, was a really interesting blend of somber without being completely nihilistic, though it kind of tends in that direction in some places. The humor, I think, brings it back, but it also feels very fitting that a lot of that humor is this kind of sarcastic, like negatively toned humor as well. But man, yeah, certainly this feels like a game that had a very particular thing to say about what kinds of messages games could have, and came out at a time when there was a big debate about, games being more than just play. And I think that this game is doing some really amazing things with approaching serious subjects in a way that's not even entirely playful, despite the fact that you're, doing all the things we associate with play, like role-playing and embodying a character and controlling your own experience of fun or entertainment. But wow, okay, well, so that was Night in the Woods. I will try to get the YouTube video up tomorrow, and in the meantime have highlights of this video up as well. And just wanted to say a final thing before I sign off, which is that I was talking to someone yesterday about this stream and kind of explaining that I do analysis and criticism of games, and they asked, oh, so you basically play the game and explain the symbolism as you go. And I kind of see what they mean by that, but I think it's really important to note that I don't intend for this stream to be explaining a game, because I don't think that art rewards explanation in that way. I think that what I'm doing on this stream is basically presenting what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, and bringing in various dynamics of what I know about narrative design and what I know about critical theory and connections that I'm able to make in that way. But I don't think that art can be explained exactly. So I really want to make sure that I'm not presenting this as a stream that's explaining video games. I'm presenting my viewpoint, and hopefully that's interesting. And I really love hearing all of your viewpoints and your observations as well. So thank you so much for tuning in and helping me finish Night in the Woods. On Friday, I'll be doing a catch-up stream, presenting a rerun probably of, I'm thinking actually of doing my original Kentucky Route Zero stream from probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And then on next Monday, we will finish Life is Strange, which I have been promising a friend of mine I would do for, oh gosh, months. And so I apologize to that friend. We will finish it next week, I promise. So Monday we'll be playing that, and then like I said, look out for that poll on the Twitter, and we will be seeing what we play next. But thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me, and I will see you all on Monday. Thanks.